Good day everyone, we're going to take a look at exercise 45 from paragraph 7.4, special quadrilaterals. Well, this exercise itself looks very straightforward. There's not a lot of text, and I think 45A isn't that difficult, as in that it's doable for everyone. But then they only give you two pieces of information in B, and with that they should be able to draw something, and that can be a bit more trickier. But let's start with A. Let's plot the points. I've already drawn a coordinate plane. Remember to always indicate the origin, X, Y, and also name or label the grid spaces, right? At least 1, 1, minus 1, minus 1. I always do them all. Plot points. A is in 3, 1. So hopefully you already found that A was right here. And B is in 5, 7, which is right here. C. Okay, that's A. In B, it looks like they give you one piece of information, but they actually give you two, right? They say draw a rhombus. So that means that whatever thing I'm going to draw has the properties of a rhombus. With that being said, BD equals 4 centimeters. So I know that the thing that I'm going to draw is a rhombus. So I should now use that properties to start drawing ABCD. And I already know that I think B will be somewhere over here to the right of AC. And D should be somewhere here, because counterclockwise I will get A, B, C, D. And then it gets back to A, right? They give me the distance from B to D. That's quite strange, right? Because if I would make a sketch, I would think that if it is a rhombus, if I'm going to sketch a rhombus, like this. Let's say this is a rhombus and this is called A, B, C, D. This is not the rhombus that we're searching for, but let's just talk about it for a moment. You see that B and D aren't edges of my rhombus. They are a diagonal. So what they're actually saying is, well, I give you the length. Let's do it in a different color. I give you the length of this line. Okay. That's nice to know, but I don't know the direction of my other lines, of my edges, and I don't know the length. Well, you actually can derive that from this piece of information. Why? Well, remember, if I draw my other diagonal as well, if I'm going to take a look at the properties of a rhombus, I know that this angle is always 90 degrees. And I also know that those two lines here are going to be exactly the same. And this one is also the same to that one. Why does this help me? Let's just take a look. So I think, because we're talking about the diagonal, I can already start by drawing the diagonal from A to C, which is going to be a diagonal, right? I can show you that right here. I know that also because A is not connected to C in this notation here. A connected to B, connected to C, connected to D, and D goes back to A. So I know for a fact that this line is equally long to this line, right? The line segment from A to the midpoint here is the same as from the midpoint to C, which means that if I'm going to measure this or take a look at the grid spaces, I know this is the midpoint of AC, right? If you want to measure this, that's fine by me as well. You can take out your protractor, do it like this, measure it out. Half of it is exactly here on this grid space. So because I do that, because I know that this line is equally long to this line. But I also know that my diagonal BD must be perpendicular on that diagonal. That's a property of a rhombus, right? Take a good look at theory B. They say it there as well, and they show it to you in a drawing there as well, that this is always 90 degrees. Well, why is that so important in this case? Well, if I know that the other diagonal must be somewhere, or must be on this line here. Do I know the length of this diagonal? Yes, you do, because you know that the whole line from B, which is somewhere here, and D, which is somewhere here, is going to be 4 centimeters. And since it is going to be equally divided between the part to the right and the part to the left, I know I should have 2 centimeters here. And you see that I'm a bit too low. I'm going to move it a bit up. I should be 2 centimeters here, 2 centimeters on the other side. And I now can notate that this is going to be 90 degrees. That's a very weird 90 degrees. That's better. And this line is equally long to this line because of the properties of a rhombus. So now I know that right here is going to be a point. Which point? Point B, because it's A, B, C, D. Let's do it in a bigger font. B right here. And here should be point D, because A, B, C, D. Now don't forget to connect the lines, and if you've done this correctly, you now found that this is going to be rhombus ABCD, which they are talking about. As you can see, this time I don't find points which are exactly on a grid space, right? That's not necessarily bad. You sometimes find that when you're going to draw exercises like this. So don't be put off by that if you don't find exact grid spaces. Most of the time you do, sometimes like in this exercise you don't. Okay, so now your properties of a rhombus, alright, and if you still have any questions, please feel free to ask me that in a lesson. Good luck.